Hi there, this is Tanima. Thanks for tuning in. And today I am talking about a topic which we will delve into more in detail later in the evening. But first, just to take our viewers through what is the latest development taking place in ED raids in Rajasthan. In fact, the entire thing is two-pronged. It's not just ED raids on Rajasthan Congress leaders, but also significantly, Ashok Gehlot, the Chief Minister's son, has in fact been summoned by ED in a case. Now, these are two separate cases. First one, as I said, Rajasthan Congress chief, in fact, has been raided by the Enforcement Directorate today. There are raids which are taking place in 3 cities, and there are 11 premises altogether which have been raided. And there's also the significant development which took place shortly after, in which ED has summoned Vaibhav Gehlot, who's Ashok Gehlot's son, in a separate case of alleged forex violation. But in this entire thing, of course, the spotlight is completely on Vaibhav Gehlot and the case on him. So let me just take you through what are some of the details that we have as to what is this case involving Vaibhav Gehlot. Now, as far as we know, what are the details that we know so far? As I mentioned, the ED summons have come through for Vaibhav Gehlot today. The case is essentially linked to a Rajasthan-based hospitality group, and the company has in fact been accused of violating foreign exchange law by the Enforcement Directorate. So there are probes going on with regard to that. In fact, earlier last month as well, Enforcement Directorate had in fact conducted searches in connection to that, and what they did claim was that unaccounted cash worth 1.2 crores had in fact been seized in those raids. In fact, BJP MP Kirori Lal Meena had also filed an official complaint alleging that the link of Chief Minister Gehlot in this entire matter. He specifically talked about Vaibhav Gehlot and said that he, as well as his business associate, were in fact involved in that Rajasthan hospitality group, and in a way were benefiting from this forex violation which is taking place. So that is essentially the case which the Enforcement Directorate is looking at when it comes to Vaibhav Gehlot. And of course, other than that, as I mentioned, two Rajasthan Congress leaders, including the Rajasthan Congress chief, has in fact been raided today. And that is in the exam paper leak case. So these are two instances in which we can see that ED action is taking place in Rajasthan. Ashok Gehlot has, of course, come out all guns blazing and completely denied any involvement of his son in any case of foreign exchange violation. In fact, if I can just tell you what he has said, he essentially used a very strong phrase saying that agencies have spread terror in the country with the kind of raids that they are conducting. Atank macha diya hai. Those are the words which were used by Ashok Gehlot in a press conference just a short while back. He, of course, calls this agency's hounding of opposition states ahead of elections. And he's also, in fact, given out some key statistics in that press conference, saying that in the UPA era, there had been 112 searches conducted by the ED and roughly around 104 charge sheets. But post 2014, in the Modi government era, he says there have been over 3,000 raids, but only 29% of them have been converted into charge sheets, which means only 29% of those raids have converted to cases in courts. That is the allegation being made by Ashok Gehlot. He's, of course, defending his son. We've also seen Congress chief Mallikarjun Kharge coming out in Vaibhav Gehlot's defense, and again saying that ED, IT, income tax, and CBI are key tools being used by the BJP against poll-bound opposition states. And he also goes on to say that BJP was sensing a defeat in Rajasthan, which is why they have decided to unleash agencies in Congress-ruled states. So those are some of the reactions which are coming through in this particular case. But if we look at this in a bit more detail, and that is what, as I mentioned, we are going to dig deeper into in the evening. My colleague Vasudha Venugopal is going to look at this entire topic and this entire subject at 7:30 this evening in our election special, as to whether or not there is some sense in what the opposition states are alleging, that agencies are being misused by the center, that they are being used to hound opposition states. Opposition, these are significantly, of course, opposition ruled states. The other big state which is going into elections in a few days, that's Madhya Pradesh, these raids are not taking place over there. So is there any weight carried in the allegation, the charge being made by the opposition states when they are saying that they are in fact being hounded by these agencies? Let's just take a look at the chronology of events, if you will. Today, if we talk about today, what happened, there have been ED raids in Rajasthan, as I mentioned in detail. Just a couple of days back, ED had in fact alleged 175 crore rice bribery scam in Chhattisgarh. And Bhupesh Bagel's political aide had in fact been, there were raids conducted by the ED on him on August 24th, a couple of months back. That was, of course, in connection to the online betting scam, which is also a case recently filed by the Enforcement Directorate, and the case is based out of Chhattisgarh. That was, of course, a case filed in September 15th. And also, if we go back to January 6th, earlier this year, the Income Tax Department had in fact conducted raids at 24 locations in Chhattisgarh. Now, those raids were being conducted on businessmen, but there has always been this tacit insinuation by the agency itself that there could be big politicians involved. Even in the Mahadev, the online betting scam, there also the Enforcement Directorate had in fact given feelers, though not, they have not named anybody yet in the case, in the charge sheet, but they have given enough reasons for reporters to believe that they could be looking at involvement of heavyweight politicians from Chhattisgarh in this entire online betting scam. So those are some of the instances which the opposition leaders, the Congress leaders in both these states have in fact been pointing to, saying why is there a flurry of agency action against us? What we have, of course, seen, the BJP and the center, essentially the Enforcement Directorate or the IT or the CBI, would not really come out and openly talk about these cases or the allegations being leveled against them. But the center, the BJP, for that matter, BJP spokesperson, even today, for that matter, have in fact said that these are valid cases. Due process of law is being followed. Why is it that the Congress is crying foul? If there is nothing illegal to prove, then they should just welcome these probes, they should welcome the investigation and let the law carry out its course. There is no need to be alarmed by these investigations if they have nothing to hide. But remember, the opposition has in fact repeatedly made these allegations, even in the run-up to 2024 or in the run-up to these crucial semi-final elections. The state polls are being called semi-final elections to 2024. Even in the run-up to that, several opposition parties have in fact repeatedly leveled this allegation about agency misuse. Remember, a few months back, they had even gone up to the Supreme Court. 14 parties, 14 opposition parties got together to file this petition. They went up to Supreme Court and said that this must come to an end. They also brought out some of these statistics, which Ashok Gehlot reiterated today, saying that there have been number of raids, especially linked to opposition leaders. But what has come of it? Why is it that they are being, what they said, quote unquote, targeted? But the Supreme Court, in fact, had junked that plea. They had rejected that petition, essentially saying, and if I can just pull up what the Supreme Court had said at that point in time, the Supreme Court said that they can't issue guidelines merely on statistics linked to some politicians. They also went on to add that the answer lies in political space and not in courts. After these words, strong observations by the Supreme Court, the opposition leaders withdrew their petition. But what we in fact see that though the matter did not progress legally, the opposition leaders still believe that agencies are being used to target them, especially ahead of elections. Big personalities, big opposition personalities are being targeted. Now, whether or not there's any substance to the charge being leveled against them, that of course only probably the investigations can prove, but we will delve into this a bit more with our political analysts. We will also have spokespersons from both sides of the debate. Join Vasudha Venugopal, my colleague, as I said, at 7:30 today, this evening, as we analyze this entire subject further.